What's up, everybody? It is Lee Shush and K9 Training here, and today I have a raw, uncut training session with 11-month-old Niklaus Onyx Z TAMMIK. So, I'm going to be going over everything that we are working on in this video, which isn't much, but just going to go over the things that we're working on. So, in my shushing club, we train with hot dogs, and we train, as annoying as it can be, we train with putting the hot dogs in our mouth to keep the dog's attention exactly on our face. So right here, this is just a warm-up, like usually what I'm about to explain is a warm-up obedience session before we go into actual obedience. So it's me rewarding him for plots. In the video, you might hear me say relax. It's how we get him to settle down. He's in a plots position, but I'm not training plots here. So I'm rewarding him basically for looking at me. Every time he looks at me, he gets rewarded. Sometimes you'll see him drift over to the side a little bit, and then I break him off into a spin. And that's just a warm-up to cue the dog, to let the dog know or puppy know that, we're practicing obedience today. Because sometimes you have puppies or dogs come onto the field for training thinking, it's protection. And they have to learn that, we're doing obedience, so it's time to focus and just settle in a little bit. So our cue for obedience is relax, relax, stay in a plots position, and I break you out into a spin, just like that. So every time me and Onyx do obedience, we always start off like this. And you kind of, he's right in between being lured off food. Still a work in progress, so as I lower him to the ground, you still kind of see me use food, or sometimes I put my hands at his mouth to lower him into the ground. I said lower him into the ground, to lower him to the ground. So sometimes we do this little quick warm-up for about 2 to 3 minutes. Sometimes it depends on what I'm trying to work on. So today we were working on basic position, a little bit of healing, and what was it? Plots. Putting the dog into a plots position. That'll be towards the end of the video, though. So the dog has to learn to relax as I'm reloading on hot dogs, and I will often have to reload because obviously, I'm going to run out of them the more I pay him. So it's also, everything is really training. The dog has to learn to relax in between everything, which is what you'll see on a trial field as well. So I think I kind of turned him that way to get him in better view of the camera. And I think we're about to go into basic position. So the goal for him right now in basic position is to get him looking more at me, get his neck pointed more further up at my face, and less time looking at the ground, like there. So, you'll see him do that from time to time because he thinks that food is falling on the ground. And that's from mistakes that I made with him as a young puppy. So right now, he's doing really, really, really good. We've been working on this a lot because hand positioning when doing basic basic position is very important because it can be uncomfortable for the dog, but they have to learn that their neck has to point almost straight up for 90% of the time, because for obedience, you always want the head up. So right now, that's a little bit of a struggle with me and Onyx because of mistakes that I made when he was he's still a young puppy, but when he was a young puppy, I made a lot of mistakes with his kibble falling into the ground. If I would have started off training hot dogs straight from the mouth, we would be further along, because obviously you can't put dog kibble into the mouth. So anyways, now that we're at our warm-up positions and we went into basic position, you see me break him out into a spin. Our trainer at our shushing group always trains that, always says that, anytime you get done finishing anything, any obedience with the dog, you always want to break them out into a spin, and you're praising them the whole time. And then you settle them back down into a plots position, and you tell them relax, and you repeat the process. So his entry into basic position is a little weak. Sometimes it starts off strong, but for whatever reason, it gets a little weak. So once I figure out that reason, we'll continue to work on it. That's the importance of getting these videos on this channel so we can look at, or so I can look at, and whatever viewers in the future, we can look at the progress of this dog. So right now, we're still working a little bit of basic position, and one thing I've been working on a lot is my reward timing. My reward timing has to be very, very rapid to keep his attention. because some dogs struggle with obedience. And then some new owners struggle. It's funny, he went for a spin right there, but I wasn't ready, so can't help but laugh at a moment like that. But some new owners struggle with getting the dog further along in obedience. And, that's where we're both currently at right now. So as we both continue to train together, me and Onyx, we both are, learning stuff every day as we go. So we finished with that portion of basic position, and I broke him out into a spin while praising him. And as I mentioned, anytime we finish, whether it's healing, any obedience drill, we always break him out into a twist. And eventually the dog will have to learn to twist to the right side of my body or spin to the right side of my body, which we haven't started officially working on yet. So just loading up one more hot dogs here, and I believe, let me see what exactly is about to happen. In between, like when I'm loading up on hot dogs, in between I always pay him, well, sometimes I always try to pay him here and there, because like I said, all of this is training, from the obedience drills that we're, training on, to him just standing and just watching me put hot dogs in my mouth. All of that is training. So I try to pay him, or try to remind myself to pay him in between everything. So right now I just had him plots from a few feet away, or hold that position from a few feet away, and I put him in the plots in front of me. Right now I'm just rewarding him from holding this position, and I believe this is the part where I think we're going to go into healing, or we might be still working on basic position. Basic position and healing are, two things that we've been working on a lot with this dog, or this puppy. And his basic position is actually a lot better than his healing currently. His healing needs a lot of work, and it's going to come from me actually putting the time in, but we'll get to that part once we get to healing. So you kind of see me moving a little bit forward as we're in basic position, because I think that he's slouching or getting a little bit sluggish as he's sitting. But now that I'm watching the video back, I see that that's not the case. So you actually see a jogger in the background. I think Onyx is going to notice it before me, which caused me to notice it. Yeah, he's actually looking at it right now, and then that's when I noticed. So you can't tell by my facial expression in this video, but I was slightly irritated because I picked this field on a rainy day because I thought it would be no distractions. Not that he can't train in distractions, but I was just hoping it would just be us at the field. I have my tripod, because I bought a tripod. I have my tripod and camera set up, so I was like, let me see. Do I want to put him on the leash, or do I just want to go with my gut and say I trust the dog to just sit still? So right now I'm just rewarding him for just calmly sitting still and relaxing, because he already noticed the jogger long before I did. And I said, feel like I trust him enough to just sit and relax, as long as I don't put him into no other obedience drill. So as I mentioned, I'm just rewarding him for just holding this position, because he knows that the jogger is coming, and he's going to pass us in like a few moments right now. So yeah, just, this is even a good moment for training. You got a distraction coming. I'm not mad at Onyx for looking at him. Like right now, he's looking at him pretty hard. I'm not upset about that. But he held his position. He moved slightly right there, but he held his position. I was really proud of him. And when you watch the video back, you'll hear me saying, but that's just me reminding him to not move. So I was proud of him for not chasing after the jogger or anything like that. So, but I will say that they kind of messed up my, I had everything planned out in my head that I wanted to do. I wanted to do basic position. I wanted to do healing. And from there, I wanted to do plots, put him in basic position, and then lower him down into plots. So I think that kind of messed up my mindset from what I'm remembering. So I believe from here we're about to go into healing, actually. So as I mentioned before, his healing needs a lot of work. And it's going to come down to me putting the time in, because I have to find the balance with this dog. Right here, it's hard to see because of the video, but I'm slightly fading the lure in and out. If I fade it too high, he loses interest. So my trainer said it's up to me to pay him in between those moments to keep his interest. which I have done before, but I found that when I pay him, he wants to stop to chew the food. And you see a lot of people, training focus healing, or, whatever you like to call it, competition healing. You see a lot of people training focus healing with a leash, which definitely helps out a lot. But the way we train in our shushing club, we like to train everything positive first. We like to get the dog motivated to want to be with you. Then we'll add pressure later on in the future. So the goal right now, it's not that we won't use a leash to keep him with me when we encounter problems like us healing and him stopping to actually chew the food. It's not that we won't use a leash for that in the future, but we like to try to teach the dog to want to be with you. Basically engagement. So right now we're struggling with that engagement part, and I'm trying to find the balance and the in-between for him, because every dog is different. So that's where we're currently at with healing. I believe someone is going to call my phone in a second, or something happened. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb while I was recording this video, so I had to basically stop the video and pick up where I left off. So that's going to happen in a few seconds. But as I mentioned, the jogger kind of threw my mindset off. I was a little bit uncoordinated towards the end of the video, but after somebody called me, we picked up with the last obedience drill, which is putting him in basic position and then dropping him into a plots. So what we do from here is that I put the dog in basic position, lower him down slowly into a plots position. I say plots. Once he go into plots, I take 2 steps forward, and I say plots when I take 2 steps forward, and then I mark and reward. And then I raise him back up into basic position, lower him back down, repeat the process. So whole goal right here is just making sure the dog is completely straight. And there's other ways we can work plots in the future. We have ways where we do it in motion, but this is just one of the many ways that you can work it. So, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, when I'm telling him to relax in between things, I'm putting him into a plots position, but I'm not exactly adding the command yet. I will add the command for this because this is me actually wanting him to plots versus me actually wanting him to relax in between obedience drills. So we're almost actually out of hot dogs right here. I try to keep every session about 15 minutes. Sometimes it go to 20 minutes, but I try to keep it 15 minutes max. Sometimes things happen, like the jogger walking past or somebody called my phone. I don't usually record, but I try to get more uncut videos for this channel. But when I'm not recording and when there's not distractions like joggers or anything like that, the training sessions usually go about 15 minutes. So right now we're actually out of hot dogs, and I lure him into obedience, and I meant to say I lower him into basic position, and his entry into basic position, like I mentioned in the video, is a little bit weak. Once I figure out what the problem with that is, I'll try to get that fixed up, because that's not something that he does a lot. It could have been just yesterday at the time of this video that he was having a bad day or whatever. So we're finishing off the video. We're putting him into plots position, taking 2 steps forward, saying plots, and we mark and reward. So this video is actually getting ready to end about any minute now. Just want to get a nice video, a nice uncut video of a training session that we got done at the field. And going forward in the future, there will be a lot of more videos like this, just showcasing the work and all the stuff that we're training on. So I don't want to talk too much longer. This video should be ending any minute, and so it's actually about to end now. A piece of hot dog fell on the ground, so I had to hurry up and kind of get his attention away from it, which is what I want to remind myself to do in the future, to let the dog know to stay focusing on me. So we finish off the last couple pieces of hot dogs with this plots obedience drill, and probably in a couple moments I'm going to break him out of this position. Break is our command to let him know that he's done with everything that I want him to do, and he's free to do his own thing until I call him back into something. So any minute now this video should be wrapping up. I'm unable to hear as I do the voiceover, so I never really truly know until I watch the video back, or the video just abruptly ends. So this is, he probably went down a little bit quicker right there, which is why I decided to fix him. So this should be our last little moment right here on the video. And what I want to, get in the habit of doing more in the future is paying him a lot more quickly when I'm getting him into these plots positions. So let's see, I should be getting ready to wrap this video up. Just want to be sure. Probably finish it. There we go. All right, guys.